trying to, but like I said, the studio's not loading properly. It just says, please wait a second, your studio is preparing, but it does that, or it's doing that for like 5 minutes now.
Okay.
I might be a bad choice then.
Okay, well, I'll share for now. And essentially what happens when you click on the icon, you get in. Okay, this is where the help brings you, which is a little bit slow, but it gets help. Where am I? You get into your workspace, and there's a bunch of stuff loaded in your workspace. And this is essentially a Cloud 9 interface. A Cloud URL, it is Cloud 9, but it's enhanced with features for Ethereum, and it makes the process pretty easy. And they're integrating with more stuff. And this is sort of like a collaboration on a development environment, sort of, which is pretty powerful. The other the other thing is the Mist Etherium Wallet, okay, where we can run contracts, which we will go over in one of the future sessions. Right now, when you run the Ethereum wallet, it may take a week to get synchronized. It keeps getting stuck synchronizing the chain, and I guess all of you that are DAO owners know what the deal is with that. I just wanted to
Hey, Jim Whitescarver. I am now ready to screen share if you're interested. I'm on Windows 7 and I got it up in Chrome if you want to go from scratch.
Great, thank you. Just hit at the bottom middle of your screen, there's a screen share button.
All right, let's see here. We're in welcome screen.
Oh no, what happened?
Am I not shared?
Okay, so you have a tab at the top which is welcome, right?
Yes, sir.
If you want to, you can kill that tab or you can read it. It says, you know, it has information on it. You can leave it there for now. And then what you can do is you can open on the left-hand side there the example project. Okay, and we can see we have different platforms. We have some contracts, and we have a readme.md at the bottom. Okay, and this tells us how to go through and the installation process. Okay, and this gets a little bit difficult. Okay, I do have some update. I have updated my instructions a little bit, and I'll try to keep those up to date as we find little hitches in there. And there'll be more documentation coming. And there's a manual, which we haven't. I have not read yet. None of any of it. Know it exists, but so down at the bottom you have essentially a command line prompt ending with the pound sign symbol or sharp that means you're all-powerful god of a virtual Linux machine, and you're in your workspace, and you want to change directory to the example product. So if that's CD space, lowercase.
You're coming in and out. There's some real heavy fuzz. I'm not sure. Actually, it might be Anthony Moe. If you might want to mute your speaker, if Jim, maybe. I'm not sure. It's hard to hear you at some points here.
Yeah, let's see. Who is, somebody is, if you, let me, see if I
It
can.
might be Anthony Moe that's coming through, if that's not you, Jim.
Yeah, I'm trying to, maybe you have to, if you unshare your screen, we can see who the noise is coming from. Everybody mute who's not talking. Looks like it's me.
Hey, Jim, you can set up a co-moderator, and that person can go around and mute people as needed.
Yes, I can add admins, I think. But I don't think I could do it for this chat without going to setup, whatever. Ian Blue. I can, I'll make you, Ian, I made you host, Ian. So, okay, well, it sounds quiet now. We'll go back to the screenshot there. So it should, the CD should be lowercase. Unix is very picky. Space. And then we're going to the example project. You can hit EX tab and it'll fill in the whole thing, example project. And hit enter. Okay, so now we're in the example projects directory. And we have to be in the example project directory in order for these commands that they give us to work. So the copy the first command, npm install gulp CLI SG, and paste that into the command line. Now, actually, if you right click on that, it might run it. Okay, well, we'll try that the next one. Anybody from, do we have any experts for EtherCamp here? And hit the enter key in the console. Okay, if you hit the window thing over on the top left of the console, it'll make it big, so it'll be full screen. Hit that, right? Okay, that worked. We can see that it installed a bunch of stuff and the dependencies. Okay, now we want to do the next command now, so we want to make that we want to hit the window button, which is certainly currently covered, to go back down to small, and take the next command, which is the npm install, which I should have remembered, but so we type in the npm install, run this file. No, we don't want to run the file. Okay, so we have to copy and paste the command apparently. For some reason, I'm not seeing what you're typing in the command window. Let me take this. Exit the screen. So you're typing the npm install. Did you type that? You can't see it in your console. In the console at the bottom, you want.
Oops, I'm not talking. I said, can you see it now? I'm waving my thing down there.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I can say that.
For some reason, when I was full screen with the Zoom window, it wasn't showing the very bottom. Huh, it's weird. Okay, enter that.
Command not found. Let me try again. Copy. Paste. Oops, that's not the one, right?
Well, you can just back, the beginning of it's the same.
The beginning, right. I thought it came without the $ for some reason when I pasted it in.
You don't want the $.
Oh, that's why. Okay, that's why it didn't go. No repository field, no license field. It looks like things are going though.
What is this? It looks like you got some errors, but it looks like it's completing. I'll be back in a second.
Hey, I have a question. It's kind of related to this. When somebody is like sharing their screen and, you know, it's kind of like, is there anything that will pop up through the EtherCamp for like private keys, passwords, or anything on this screen that somebody wouldn't want to see, or is that not even a possibility?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything sensitive here.
Okay.
In fact, you know, we could all work in the same workspace. We could be working together in this workspace.
Okay.
And that is supported.
So just tinkering around the terminal yesterday, and it's like Ethernet and all sorts of stuff popped up. I didn't expect to see it, so I was kind of wondering.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think there's a problem.
Okay.
Okay, so our next command is what? The gulp. And there may be something missing here. Oh, browserify was missing. Did you get an error there?
I didn't see it, but I did get the feeling I did. Here's the no repository field, no license field. Jade has been renamed. Please install the latest version of Pug instead of Jade. There's some deprecated stuff here.
Okay, well, this is what they gave us, right? You just got this fresh. So I would assume that everything's okay. I guess, you know, I had a different problem when I ran this. Browserify was missing. I had to install Browserify.
Okay.
I think Jade had some copyright or trademark problems, so they had to change their name to Pug recently. So they probably haven't updated it accordingly.
Right, they haven't updated the EtherCamp distribution, so we'll just go with what they have. New gulp.
Okay. Browserify and default ran.
Okay,
Finished.
Gulp test.
Print strings, one passing.
Okay, CD web.
moving forward.
So at any of these sessions, if somebody's having a problem, they can share their screen, and we can try to help them, I guess. Of course, we're not going to write their programs for them. We'll give them pointers in the right direction. Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely collaborate on programs.
Is there anything of note at this point, Jim? I mean, the NPM I'm vaguely familiar with from, and then a gulp, I'm not sure what that is. Or is there anything to note? I'm not a big coder, but sometimes it's fun to have a little background.
Yeah, I wish I knew these things better. I mean, some of these things, you know, I forgot. I get so much pounded with so much information, I forget it.
I'm doing a course on exactly this stuff right now.
Good.
I'm building a gulp file for my.
Can you explain gulp? I mean, what you're doing now is we're running a node that we installed some stuff into. Go on, talk about gulp.
Yeah, basically it's like a server-side engine, I think it's called. So you kind of run your SAS through it and your JavaScript, and it will like minify the files for you and render them for you. And it's got like a bunch of associated tasks with it that just make development a lot easier. So.
Cool.
Okay, so now we're running our node server, right?
HTTP server, go. Serving. Hey, look, we got some IPs or something.
Right. Let's see. I'm trying to remember now. So we're up and running. Hooray! Now we want to. Now let's run a contract. Okay, so we. No, but there's something else we're supposed to do. What am I thinking here? Okay, the main thing, first thing we have to do, I mean, one of the things we have to do here is make sure we're working in test rather than the real blockchain. We haven't started our server. Oh, there's the run all contracts. Right, that one will work. Okay, hit run all contracts.
Run all contracts, as in type run all contracts?
No. It's up at the top middle of the taskbar. Yeah, right in the middle of this of the screen is the run all tasks.
Oh, I'm being blind. Sorry.
No, it's not under the run tab. It's on the same row in the middle of the screen.
I see it. So it appears we're in a sandbox. I've got another console up here. I've got example project, sandbox ID.
Okay, you're in good shape here. But you need to go to the file. The next instruction, okay, in the README is if you go. There's no more instructions. That's it.
We went through Gulp. We did a Gulp test. We changed to web. We installed HTTP server. I feel like I didn't put this G on here, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
And then I ran HTTP server.
Okay, what you have to do next, I'll put in the chat. Now, although you don't really normally see the chat.
I got a notification for the chat when I think Patrick put one in there.
Yeah, when you're in screen share, the chat is where?
It popped up.
It's at the, oh, I guess it's still at the bottom. It's still on the bottom bar of your Zoom. You may have to exit full screen or move your mouse to the bottom and see if the chat box comes up.
I have the group chat up. Maybe it doesn't show you all.
Yeah. Well, actually, you don't really need to see this, but what you have to do is you have to go into the web directory in the file on the left, and open up go into source src, and
so I'm going to web source app.web/source/app.js, and I'm finding my ID of the running sandbox on the sandbox panel. So here's my web, here's app.js.
Yes, you want to open that, right? Okay.
And we're looking for the sandbox ID of the sandbox that I'm running. So I've got my sandbox ID up here. Let's see, sandbox ID within this variable URL equals.
So yeah, so double click on that F7B address and paste in the other one you copied.
Oh, pull. Okay, I didn't copy it yet, but yeah. Okay, so replacing my the sandbox ID of this file with my sandbox ID. So I've done that.
Right. And I think there was one other thing I needed to change, but I don't see it here.
Again, we're in app.js. That's the only reference in here I see to my sandbox ID. I got a project name. Solidity function. Is this contract number correct, or this default account correct?
I am very sorry, I forget. But we will march on and see if we get errors. I thought there was one other change I made, and I can't find it. I wish this meeting came up so fast. I'm sorry, I really didn't have time to go through all this before the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
But we've gotten pretty far. Okay, so let's just go.
Can I just comment, guys, that
we'll just skip this. We're not gonna run this application. Okay, or we could try running it. Why don't you hit one of the URLs at the bottom of your console screen there, and see if we can run the application.
Either one of these. All right.
I'm not sure what.
Hit open.
Yeah. I don't know what it means, open in preview. Huh. We're not running. Okay, well, kill
no, we are just type HTTP in front of the address.
It has HTTP.
Not when it gets in the browser.
I think, huh.
Type HTTP there.
Interesting. Now it takes it off. The browser's taking it off.
Okay.
Try the other one. The second link. The second.
This one is the second link running right up here.
Oh.
It took too long.
Okay.
The
Okay.
first,
Okay. Let's go on and.
Can I just comment something on the code that I noticed, guys? The actual contract ID is identical in the code to what we have on the right. The only thing that is different is the default account, which is that one where you've put your mouse on.
yeah, that's what I was wondering too.
Yeah.
I would copy that in there and try one more time, because maybe it's not starting because it's failing to find the account.
Yeah.
In the default account here.
Yeah.
Good.
But would you not need to restart your
That's
Node.js?
true. That's true. We didn't restart.
Render or whatever.
Now, let's see. Do we?
Just Control C and rerun.
Alright. HTTP server, is that?
Just go up. Just no. Just yeah. Okay, go ahead. Fine. Up arrow.
Good.
We'll get it from history.
All right, we're serving. Let's try link number 1. Oh. And let's try link number 2. I can try putting those HTTPs in there.
Now, take some off.
I feel like it is putting in the HTTP naturally, but I could be wrong.
It is. The HTTP there is just taken, not shown to save space. That's all in the browser.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's we'll go to the next thing and see if we can run a contract. And let's go to in the contracts directory. We have 2 contracts. Contract.sol. Okay, let's take a look at one of those contracts. I haven't actually run these. I've run some other contracts, but we want to double click on it so it opens it up in your pane.
Do you want both of them? Or just this one for now?
Here's this one for now. Let's look at it. Contract. Name contract. That doesn't do much. Oh, okay. And then we have the, then let's go down to std.sol. Contract owned is abstract. Okay, it has address owner, function owned, function change driver. Okay, why don't you do right click and hit run and see if we can run this. Or where do we run it?
No such file or directory from bash here.
Well, I'm obviously not remembering right at all. So we've been able to go through the basic installation process, and we've seen some of the stuff. But unless I don't want to waste time experimenting here, unless somebody else wants to try something. I don't want to be doing Google searches on this while we're in the meeting.
I think we've been through a lot, Jim. I really appreciate it. We've got set up in the system and we can have a look around ourselves, and maybe next week we can tell each other what we've learned.
Okay. So I guess you can end the share screen now.
All right.
And Zoom has 2 modes. It has up in the top right, it has speaker view and it has a grid view. And grid view, you get to see everybody. The gallery view, you get to see who's speaking. It would be good if people would turn their cameras on when they're speaking, although it's not required. Oh, I have mine off. Duh, bad boy. I think it's good if we can see, see each other. On the schedule for next week, we have part 2 of running contracts on EtherCamp, and I also plan to do a thing on running the Mist wallet and running contracts on the Mist wallet.
Hey, Jim, do you have any links to documentation? Just getting a better grasp of the syntax in the contracts would be quite nice.
Yeah, it's in the chat. Hit the chat on the, from the bottom of your screen, just near the center chat. And if you see the Git books, EtherCamp Live, Studio, Primer, Content. Okay, and the other place you might want to look is, the other places you should look and are here. At the blog, and we have a bunch of short videos showing you stuff in the one post. The other posts are more about what's happening around EtherCamp and stuff. But it's funny that they don't. I haven't really found a website with all their links on it. They just don't. I guess we have to make our own EtherCamp website with all the links in it and updates. There's a couple of environments for programming, the Ethereum, using the Mist wallet. We can run contracts. We can run contracts that we write and experiment with them. I mean, they're not going to have a user interface really, except the Mist wallet itself. It's a Mist browser. It's really, it's called the Mist browser. It lets you, it sort of like gives you direct access to the Ethereum machine. When you run contracts, you fill it, it's like, it's more friendly than the command line, let's say. But if you're going to be writing real applications, you need to have a tool like EtherCamp that's a little more powerful, that lets you develop an interface and everything. That's better than the Mist browser, but certainly the Mist browser is great for just trying out your contracts and improving them and playing with them among friends who run Mist browsers. Hopefully the process will get simplified. Like I said, I was going to start with that, but I realized it would be too hard for people to get the Mist browser installed and running and synced and actually be able to run the contracts. And I was able to run contracts very simply from EtherCamp. I guess because I'm getting old, I forgot. I'm not sure. I have to set up. I have to actually set up an example to run for the next session. Some examples.
Is there anything on the horizon where you could run from your own text editor, maybe like a Nodemon application or something like that, like a node thing, to run from the command line instead of using ether.camp?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, I mean, this is okay. What you're going to get with ether.camp is you're going to get auto fill in and highlighting of your Solidity code, and you get their JavaScript interface so that you can it's really for JavaScript programmers. It provides good tools for them. Yeah, there's no reason you can't do any of this by yourself, and you could, if you want to, you could do pretty much the same thing from the command line and just check out you just check out what you want.
Hey, Jim. I just posted in there, it's the Solidity browser. I picked up on this. It was from Andreas Olofsson's tutorials, some great tutorials, and the Solidity browser is very similar to Ethercamp, to answer this gentleman's question. And I just posted that link up there if somebody wants to take a look at that maybe a little later, but just another option for you.
Yeah, well, the Ethercamp has a lot of the functionality of the browser, but the browser is not really an interactive development environment. It's not an IDE, really. Or is it? I don't know. It's pretty basic, but it has a lot of nice functions, like Ethercamp, in terms of running contracts and getting the source of the contracts and stuff like that. Okay. It's great. Thanks so much for the link. Okay, I was showing so basically, with the Ethercamp, you get a complete node server, and you can load in. You can get any node application or code, off of Git or whatever, load it into your workspace, and integrate it with the blockchain, so to speak. And that, that's above and beyond what something like a Git browser does.
Is this like these kind of commands, getting all that set up for the node? Was that in the README part? Would we be able to copy and paste that kind of stuff? I need a cheat sheet.
Yeah, it was basically in the README. I had some other notes here, which I think I already pasted some of the information in. I will make the chats available, yes, for these sessions as well, since that may be useful. I don't know.
Jim, I'm a beginner, and it looks like an excellent tool. What the Ethereum Studio. It's just like I saw what you did and getting set up, and I can certainly refer back to it. But it's like I do real well when I can copy and paste with good commands and just kind of go that route. I guess I'd be willing to see if that information is pretty clear as day for a beginner like me, and if not, maybe just kind of come up with a little helpful hints or a little simple instruction to just copy and paste that and utilize this tool. So maybe I could confer with you on that if there's anything we could do.
Yeah, well, I guess I wanted, to go over the basic capabilities of EtherCamp today, and I sort of, was unable to complete that. I apologize, but and the Just wallet in terms of basic utility of the net, and then we'll be working on very specific things. For example, there's a lot of things that are high on my priority list. It's like identities, starting with the U-port contracts from Connexes and standing up the identities on the internet. I mean, on the blockchain, there's decision tools. There's a liquid democracy set of contracts done by Jordi Molina, and it's really a complete DAO contract with liquid democracy capabilities. And what I was hoping to do was collaborate with them, and if necessary, or just take the contracts as they are and add the U-port identities, which we need for people to be able to use it, and use that for group decision processes, and organizational support, task support. In the Divi DAO Slack, okay, there we have identity, we have calendars, scheduling, we have rank voting, and liquid voting. It's to some extent it's a matter of what the community needs and what the members of and what applications you have, and where we have overlap, where we all need the same thing, so to speak, to actually start building some of those contracts, and or exploring which there's so many contracts out there. And it's a matter of just using them, getting them to work together to build our organizational support for our communities. As my objective. But any application that's part of that, certainly we can work on in these sessions.
I think it was a good place to start. Just jumping into some of this stuff. It was a good introduction and gives me something to go back on. At least I was able to see how that worked, because when I went to the studio before, I didn't really know how to use it. I didn't know I had to set up a node or anything. I thought I just had to hit run and it would be like magic, but I see there's a little bit more to it.
Yeah. So good. So are there other applications? I mean, we've talked about a little bit about medical records. Certainly privacy and controlling access to information is something I'm very, very much interested in. And so I certainly be willing to collaborate on developing well, that's part of building an identity, is building medical records and putting the user in control of their information. You know, have everything be accessible only via a contract. Okay, you make a contract. Who can get what when? You know, it's like, sure, you can get my phone number. You know, just give me $30 worth of amps. I mean, ETH. You know, it's what, you know, I can make any contract I want for access to my stuff. And in the liquid democracy implementation, it's pretty neat the way he set the you set your vote. Your votes are contracts, so they can be very. You can delegate them to make the liquid section or have any kind of logic in terms of automating your decision processes within your organization. It's pretty cool. It's just too exciting. There's too much going on. Collaborative learning, I think, is the best way for us to build up this. I mean, I've been in computer science for since 1964. Well, no, 64 was unit record equipment. It was punch cards. I mean, we programmed boards by, you know, wiring column 1 of the card to column 1 of the adder to column 15 of the printer or whatever. Our programs were all on wire boards, but then in any case, I've had to learn new technology every couple of years, and now I have to learn this. Anybody else wanted to talk about what kind of contracts they want to build?
Yeah, I was just about to mention to you, I'm working with a gentleman, Gregory Castle. I wonder if I'm getting double audio, by the way. If I am, sorry.
You sound good. Sound fine.
Cool. So it's called agreement-based organizing. It's basically the governance model that after experimenting with like consensus-based or consent-based organizing for about 7 years now, this is probably my favorite framework I've ever come across, and I've done 2 critiques on it now. And actually, Gregory Castle, even though it's like basically his brainchild, was kind enough to include me as a contributor here. I posted into the chat. Really, really clear and really exciting because of the implications for complexly related agreements. So looking at both federation and confederation, nesting, or he calls it hierarchical or ordinal, I think hierordinal agreements. So that's looking at, nesting, putting agreements inside of other agreements. And then also distributed version control, but distributed agreement control, which is another pretty exciting premise. But basically, Gregory Castle is also part of the Value Flows project. Some of you might be aware of Bob Haugen and Lynn Foster's work with open value networks, as seen in Sensorica's open source hardware paradigm. They're doing some really amazing open accounting between businesses, as opposed to people used to be doing this stuff, enterprise resource planning. You know, you look at one business's inputs, outputs, the whole process.
Now, do you see yourself as actually developing contracts on the blockchain? I mean, is that something that you consider yourself capable of doing, maybe?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. I think.
We got to build these things. I mean, you know, in the Divi group, I posted some of your agreement stuff, and you know, I basically, I mean, that's sort of already incorporated into my vision. I'm not sure what's first, though. You know, it's like putting first things first is for me is getting it straight. I mean, getting the pieces in place, and also keep in mind where we're going with this. And the agreement-based stuff is all about consensus, and it's not consensus. And this is one of the problems using the words like consensus and democracy. People have a fixed idea of what that means when consensus, what we're really talking about is peer-to-peer consensus. So I guess everywhere I use the word consensus, I should say peer-to-peer, because our rules, are between each other. Our social contract is among each other.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to word it. What I love about, I mean, basically Gregory Castle's document, the agreement-based organizing framework, I like the change from consensus to consent-based.
Right.
Agreement. And so that's to say that you don't have to be...
I have to go through and change the word consensus.
Yeah, well, it's just to say, it's not that you're in favor of, it's that you have given consent.
I wish somebody else would help me fix the Divi proposal document, because all these I've got all these misleading things in there that I find from time to time.
So I'll tell you in terms of priorities, just really quick for me, and I definitely am trying to keep abreast of some of these technological developments, both for that and also for some open money. I'm working with Michael Linton, who was the founder of the LET system, something exchange trading system.
Absolutely. Let's make money. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I want to. It will be really easy for us to put amps and divvies up. They're simple contracts, and if we start with something like. If we start with something like Jordy's liquid democracy code contract, it already has money in it.
Cool. Yeah, so what I'm looking to do, I'm trying to get a test group together for agreement-based organizing with Gregory Castle. Gregory Castle is also on the open money game, the open money protocol as developed by Michael Linton. And so, yeah, as their capacity allows, it'd be cool to work with you, Jim, and basically replicate open money protocol onto Ethereum or blockchain in some way and just start playing with it like that. I think they'd be open to that. They're just interested in playing their game, and I think their games are really compatible. And I think if we can show them that those games are compatible with blockchain and that it doesn't take away too much from, because I think they're both very social forward, or we want to teach people the culture first. I mean, that's my mind too. Like if you're gonna have a culture tech, you got to have culture first. And I think some of the bigger blockages are there as opposed to in the technology. Although there's definitely technological challenges and blocks still that I really appreciate that folks like yourself and others in this room are working on. But yeah, I think it'd be cool to get you in the room with Greg and Michael at some point. There's also Inspiralite, Christina Curley, who's more on the grounds with disenfranchised youth and looking at peer mentorship arrangements and how to onboard people into communities of practice that are beneficial for them. So we're definitely looking at and at the interface being co-budget. If you haven't made it to check out cobudget.co, this sucker's pretty. And it's just the internal Kickstarter program, basically. And so we're looking towards that, too, as a way of implementation of open money. And so, yeah, so, Jim, let's keep in touch and see how we can do it. I'm online all day today, mostly. I have to do some running around at one point. But, we could meet again too and chat or see if Michael Linton's up on his Zoom right now. He usually does morning hours about now till like 1 o'clock.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're into so many things. And you know, they're all fascinating applications. And the thing is to get it down to, you know, a contract we can make, like interfacing to open money or something like that. You know,
yeah, I don't mean to overly complicate it either. That is my role more or less. I do the bridge building where we can get people playing together and developing together. You know, bridge and left brain, right brain kind of folks oftentimes. So definitely slow me down when you need to, because that's just how my brain works typically. Is I'm like, all right, I see an affinity group, I see some shared values, shared norms. Let's play.
right.
I think we lost others maybe with all this craziness though.
So, you know, putting this stuff together is incredible. I mean, the whole thing of information privacy that Jeremy is doing, and the, you know, my stuff with strong anonymous identity, and your stuff with sharing and agreement-based stuff. It's all part of a very big puzzle. And it's not going to work together unless there's a group somewhere that's willing to collaborate to build all the pieces that are needed.
Definitely. I mean, that's kind of the thing is like we got to be, I mean, also like the agreement-based thing's untested, right? Like, so that's my work with Gregory Castle right now. I'm spending 1 day a week thinking about networking with him and the creation of safe, neutral spaces that are good for intention casting and vision casting, just so people are aware of developments coming down the tube in regards to new economy, collaborative economy, peer-to-peer economy, what say ye. So that's kind of like what I'm working on with him. 2 days I'm working on value flows stuff. So that's looking at value distribution and also value production, peer-to-peer again. So that's with the value flows folks, like economic terminology and getting to the roots of words so that our protocols can reflect kind of some sort of sense of like, we know what we're doing here. And then, yeah, just in general, my work's communication stuff. So, like, I'm just trying to talk with brilliant folks such as yourself, Jim, and others here, and make your stuff more accessible to peers who would benefit from working with you.
Yeah. And we have Doug Rushkoff integration. We're going to be bringing him into a hangout with scenario folks at some point, and build. You know, his interest is in building a network of support for benefit corporations, which I know you're involved in that area too.
Not yet, but I've got my eye on it. Christina Bowen, who is a very talented network weaver, much more talented than myself, I should say, is got her hands in it a little bit, and so I'm just aware of it now. But I've seen it for a while, for a couple of years now, actually. This is just the first time that somebody's kind of given me the front door online anyway.
Right.
That's a entry point with him for sure, I think. And I got to look at that stuff as we look towards organizing that.
Right. And then there's, she's part of that, you were saying she's part of that human interface HI group collaboration, HI colon, I'm not thinking. I defined that. The HI Collaborative.
VHI Collaborative. What is that?
HI, Human Interface.
Oh, HI project. Yeah, that's cool stuff. They're looking for funding. My impression is that it's not necessarily on hiatus, but it is. I don't think it's turning the wheels too quickly right now. Was my impression.
I subscribe to all their concepts, principles, and values.
Nice.
So I consider myself part of the HI project, even though I don't know what the name of it is. But I tried to join their Slack, and it doesn't work. And so I commented on the guy's blog where he introduces the HI project, and
yeah, let me put on my to-do list.
I think it would make sense to bring them into the Divi fold. Make a lot of sense, because the human interface is so important, and so much of what they're doing corresponds, to a basic philosophy of getting the interface you want rather than the interface that Facebook or Google or somebody else wants, and the architecture that's necessary to accomplish that. And to some extent, the blockchain already is that, because anybody can write a program to interface with the blockchain. And if all the programming is on the blockchain, then it's independent of the interface. But they've sort of brought it down to a science of how to organize this and make it work. I love it. I love it. So I'm going to be trying to get them on board.
The way to probably catch with Christina, if you want to just do it yourself, is if you go to kumu.io. They've got an awesome mapping software. I'll show you an example. It's done by two brothers, and they're super open, but I list it because you can get into their Slack from the bottom of basically any page on their website, kumu.io. And if you go, Christina Bowens is like what I think they call her a respected Kumu or something like that. She onboards people. She's really active in that Slack. I think it's like community.slack.com. And so that they have a working link. And so you could probably interface with her, and or maybe I don't know if other high project people are in Kumu, but I wouldn't be surprised. Here, I'll bring up, you might like.
You're going to share your screen?
Oh yeah, I can do that, sure. So here's just a little map that I made for my own sort of roadmap of sorts. It's cool because you can like draw these loops to describe what's going on. I made this pretty little ship that is roughly related to my translations work in my primary formats of translations. But I can also show you one that's a little bit more with probably the main utility of this mapping program, which is like mapping out system views. So this is a network overview. They did this research project. Let's see, map displays all entities, filled out survey. Click on the actors who have completed, and you can see some like information about them. It also, like when you click on people, you see all of the connections. So if I click on nonprofit, it should highlight all the nonprofits involved here. These are like all peer-to-peer. You probably recognize some of these, maybe WeShare, for example. It's that Parisian group. So anyway, they got a really cool thing going on here. But what I was just recommending to you, I just popped up the filter map. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff. You can get crazy analytics from this, actually. I haven't explored that far in yet, but what I was just recommending to you is to go to their website, and at the bottom of all their pages, they got their Slack chat, so you can possibly hit Christina Bowens in there.
Thank you. Just too much to do. It's crazy.
I was going to interject. You know, I live up in the Seattle area, and we got homelessness is just going crazy. It's not just in Seattle, but I did talk to it's like a nonprofit who bought a motel literally to house homeless teenagers. Like these kids are living in chicken coops and all that. And I'm sure that Seattle and all that is not the only one. And I think when you're talking about that human element, there's a lot of outreach and that's just out there. Nonprofits just need this information. And I think there's some decent job training for some smart kids. They just need a headset to listen in on this kind of stuff and start learning some of these smart contracts. I don't think these cities are they need some solutions. The traffic and just the rise of homelessness, they're just trying to get them out of sight and out of mind. So you start looking at what opportunities are out there was like Slockit and the smart, you know, locks, be it for tiny homes or bikes. Some of these basic, simple contracts to maybe, I don't care if it's in the heart of San Francisco, Seattle, or some of these outlying areas. I just think there's enough support that's out there, maybe even some matching funds to work with these kind of groups. I just think this kind of training will be helpful down the road for many communities. I don't think it's just going to be 14 people here right now. I think there's just, we just need to be a catalyst and provide this kind of information. So I certainly appreciate the input and what you're doing today, Jim.
You're on mute, Jim.
Thanks. Yeah, so Brent, your main focus is on cooperatives, no? Or that's just one of your many focuses?
That's just one of many things, trying to pull it all together. I'm just trying to do my part. I'm interested in this stuff. I'd like to put some things in the pipeline and then work on some priorities. But yeah, this is part of it while there's lag time.
Right. Well, you know, certainly the cooperative stuff would be very very much related to the community work that we're doing here, because it all applies to cooperatives. It's, in a sense, it's a cooperative itself. And with the monetization that's part of becoming part of Divi, you know, can handle, you know, well, cooperatives in any case, many kinds of cooperatives.
Well, you know, that's exactly what we need to do. And I don't care if it's homeless teenagers or just people trying to better their communities. It just kind of comes down to we can keep doing the same things over and over again and expect a different result, or we can start sharing this kind of decentralized model and just say, hey, this is something you can try, and here's the education. It's free education, or you can wait for government or somebody to do it for you, which isn't happening, and it's getting worse. So this technology will help with peer-to-peer and maybe get people out of those cities and kick jobs out around the world, not just concentrate in these urban agendas, you know.
This is do-it-yourself society. Okay, and you know, I'm concerned with very basic things. It's like, how do the identities of the people in our communities interact with one another? Okay, how can we, you know, make it so that you know, you can bring your own identity into all these communities. That's my focus, more or less, or one of my focuses.
It beats sharing that information like on the Facebook through the centralized, at least if you're talking about, I don't care if it's a 16-year-old kid getting out there, setting up a node and just coming up with some creative ideas. I saw an artist asking it scenario, is there money in it for an artist? Somebody said, yeah, absolutely. If you share your work or can get work for websites, absolutely. Drive traffic, earn money. And I think that's just kind of a different model. You know, there's just going to take different ideas, and maybe it's not the solution right this second. But
and scenario is printing their own money, basically. You know, it's you know, they're paying in amps. But certainly, you know, and you know, it's sort of like when the scenario network is really live, it's the currency is programmed to reward contributors and the curators and the participants in the attention economy. So without, you know, intermediaries. And give you only the stuff you want. So you know, that's part of it too. And you know, our social networks, as far as I see, will eventually succumb to the scenario as the backbone. At least, but with your own interface notion. Ultimately, right now they're very much concerned about what interface they give people, but it's the whole architecture is decentralized, and you can make whatever interface you want.
I tried setting up with the node last night. I have to circle back on that one later, but give me something to do.
Yeah, I was planning to, but I would probably wait until the beta or the alpha or whatever, and I can connect it, because people aren't connecting their nodes. They're running independent nodes, but they're not connecting them, and it's not really documented that well how to connect them, unfortunately. And well, it's manual. It's done. Right now, the nodes are connected in the configuration, and I don't know. It would be. We keep saying we're going to eat our own dog food and use it, but we haven't gotten around to it because it's been too much work, and I guess we're trying to get the node installation process down simple enough, and step by step get it to the point where we can really run a network. And
when I saw the no root, I figured that's probably for the key people in that organization. I think I screwed up when I was setting that up. Is that kind of what you're talking about? As far as connecting the nodes? I mean, because I didn't want to set it up as root or scenario node.
Yeah, no, it's just, basically you want to connect all the nodes as one big machine.
Like a supercomputer, like Etherium.
Yeah, but the difference is everybody doesn't have to run every program. Okay, what gets run is under user control. It's under agreement. It's mutual. It's our company. In scenario they call them social contracts, and they're just between you and me. They're not. There's no central authority. It's only that by the constraints, of the constraints of the mathematical machine and it being verifiable, that makes it safe.
Mm-hmm. I've taken myself off of Facebook. Do you see this being a major threat to the Facebooks and the Reddits of the world when people pick up on this?
I think that I think this will be the user agent of the future. Now, it could be somebody else will come in there and implement something equivalent. But right now, I think it's the only game in town for the. And yeah, it'll it's going to replace insecure email and chat and all media distribution mechanisms because it puts people in control, and they're going to like that. And
well, it's good for those that abuse their authority. So be it.
yeah, I mean, the it's nobody controls it, so that's I mean there'll be there's certainly other things that do that. I mean, what's really unique about Scenario is the row calculus, the social contract mechanism, which proves our contracts basically at compile time. It proves them, you don't have to run them to see if the system's going to deadlock or come up with some kind of fault, or not give the behavior. I mean, you can the behavior is formal mathematics. It's not just somebody spaghetti code.
As far as any barriers to entry, I kind of picked up on the charging for the amps, and obviously you send out a message in the world. The circles only keep going out a certain amount of time. What kind of I guess mechanisms, or how much amps or monetary value do you think it's going to take for somebody to make a dent with their social circles?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's. I mean, in principle, if everyone's running a node, they're going to pretty much break even in amps. That they earn by being part of the network. They also get rewards for any kind of participation. I mean, if somebody else is amping the stuff you get, you're going to get a piece of the action. And Monday at the Fireside Chat, they're going to be going over the model.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too concerned about, really. I leave that to them. I think there's much more to the system than the attention economy, and if we even get it a little bit right, that's good enough. There's other fish to fry. Certainly, I think Scenario is getting it is closer to having it right than anybody else.
When you get into privacy issues and the surveillance state and just social policy in general, there has to be a lot of universities or just educators in general that have to be interested in this from the social science aspect alone. This is just it's going to spread like grass fire at some of these universities when some of these kids pick up on it.
Well, I mean, even the national identity ecosystem, NIST, the NIST effort, they're trying to put people in control of their personal information. They're trying to disintermediate so that it's actually better for everybody if if you're the only one in control of your personal information, then nobody else is liable. Of course, you can always copy and paste, but everything is governed by a contract, which is proven by the blockchain unless you subvert it some other way, and are not caught, because a lot of what will happen is there will be there'll be a great incentive to be honest, because within your trust networks, it can be hard to build. What do they say? It takes a lifetime to build up trust and a second to lose it, or whatever.
Oh yeah, people with a bad reputation, they earn it. So
Right, and but I think we've gone over an hour and a half now. Any final statements or requests for next week, besides completing the demonstration of the EtherCamp, running the sample programs and running contracts?
I would have a basic request, and I think there'd be a lot of other people that would like to see this. And this is one of the reasons, like, I'm trying to network, with some people at that Ethereum Cooperative Slack, is just how do we get the basics of the smart contract writing. And Slockit is fascinating stuff, as far as like the bike contract, a simple deposit, pay system, maybe with like a simple model or simple smart contract for the deposit and pay for like a bike. One of those, that would be the one thing that I think would be a good model. And then everybody can work on what the price is. Out here in Seattle, they just bought up, I think, after the company asked for $1 million bailout of a bike program, a bike sharing program. I said Slockit could do far better than this $1 million blunder. So I'm thinking like at like $6 a day that they're asking for these bikes. I'll be glad to put my Schwinn mountain bike down there and compete with these guys, and maybe undercut them by $1 or $2.
I mean,
I'd like to get a model for a bike and Slockit smart contract, just something basic.
well, we can just run Slockit contracts in Mist or EtherCamp. I mean, what else are we going to do? I don't understand.
Well, all I'm just saying is that's one of the things that I'd like to start working on to share. I wouldn't expect you to write the code, but if you have any example, simple contract.
That code's already written. It's already on there. All you have to do is check it out. I mean, it's in GitHub.
Yeah. I guess specific for the situation of the bike. How I would modify it for deposit and whatever that might be, because that's a business decision, or you could do it for free even if you wanted to do that. That's the kind of stuff that I'm interested in.
Well, as far as I understand, the Slockit contracts already handle all that. They already do that. So you can set deposits, you can set all this stuff.
Yeah, I just trying to figure out where to get that. That's what I'm trying to pay attention to. So I guess I better just keep paying attention.
Well, I mean, Slockit. If we're going to give an example of running contracts, okay, we can try to do a Slockit test, and we want to go on. We go on to testnet and create a contract for a bike or whatever with all the parameters, and then run it. Of course, I'm not sure.
Two things come to mind for me. One being what I put into the chat, being like it'd be cool to compile a list of like the design decisions, Brentwoods, that you're thinking about, and then go in and modify those or like play with them. And then also I think too towards like it'd be cool to run a demo that would prepare someone like Brentwoods or even myself to go to a city official and show them Slockit works. Like I think you're already talking towards this, Jim Whitescarver, but like I think you know, right, anybody can go read it and learn how it is, but it's different to like bring that to somebody when you're like, okay, money on the table, like I want you to do this, and they're like, does it really work? Show me how it works, or show me that I should trust this new technology. That's, you know, I think the conversation that maybe Brent Woods is looking towards is like, how do I can get basic understanding. I have access to some people who could tell me how to troubleshoot this, but how do I introduce this to people in a way that leads to action? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that I'd like to get the code and compete against the existing model rather than beating my head against the wall thinking that they're going to go along with it.
So you're going to clone the Slockit code and make your own coins, basically.
Yeah, it sounds like I've just come across the proposal stuff with like the DAO, and I know that it's all similar. I just too ignorant at this point.
Okay, well, we'll look into it and see if we can run a demonstration of it. It's easy to clone the code and submit it with your own contract ID.
Exactly. And I've seen Christoph Jentz when he was in Seattle. He did the demo. That was like in March. So I've learned a little bit more, and things are changing pretty fast. And then I saw that you put up his smart contract, and it was for proposal. I guess this is a little bit more specific for a simple contract. And I think there's just, if we could kick that kind of information out for the bike model, it's very similar to like a tiny home, maybe work with economic development councils, maybe some of the nonprofits, and just kind of seed these ideas. I guarantee you, when people start figuring it out, that this is something that's already there, I think there might be some matching funds, and that's where people will start working together a little more outside of just the high-tech world.
Yeah, could be.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I got to run. Thanks again, Jim. And on trust, just real quick, God, let's not work around trust in a way that builds trust. That's my feel. All right, I'm out of here. That's a longer conversation. Peace. Take care.
All right, so we'll go on. I'm not sure what. I'll see what we can do in terms of demonstrating the Slockit code and look at what kind of modifications you might want to make to it. I guess the issue would be, why compete with Slockit?
Oh no, I wouldn't want to compete with them. In fact, maybe see if somebody like Griff Green or somebody from Slockit would be willing to collaborate and share some of that information. I guarantee you they probably would. Well,
let's look. So we have to look at what the current contracts offer and how that we would want to change that. Or are we just talking about making the user interface to it?
Sure. Hey, Jim, I'm going to hop off. I certainly appreciate you.
I'm going to close down now.
Okay.
Unless there's somebody else.
We'll talk to you soon.
Later. Bye-bye.
Later.